when I began my research, trying to know what was happening in Ashraf, I found an incredible amount of information that just made me uncomfortable. And I want to share with you this information because what I'm convinced today is that if we want to do something, we have to bring light to Ashraf. And light is the truth, because we are surrounded in a world of lies. And we have to confront those lies. The first thing that I encounter as an information about this movement, the Mujahideen and the opposition of Iran, was that you were communists. So I had to ask if you were communists, because that's on the net. And, well, I found out that you were not. And even if you had been communist, it wouldn't have changed anything. But the thing is that there is this lie that changes the way we interact with people. I want you to know that I was abducted for 6.5 years by a communist movement. So, of course, I could have felt a little bit uncomfortable being in a communist party. But no, even if it had been a communist party, looking at the images I have seen, it doesn't change anything. But what changes is the intention of saying that this movement is a communist movement. As other things that have been said, that this movement and this political opposition is a sect, is a cult. And I want to tell you, with all my respect, that what I see here is not anything related to any cult. But I can understand why the people that want to harm your ability to fight for freedom in Iran want to point to you as a sect movement or as a cult, because perhaps that's what they want you to be, and that you're not. Because perhaps it would be easier to fight you if you were just a cult. I stumbled into other information that, of course, has to be confronted to. I read that one of the accusations made to the PMOI is that the movement would have participated in the massacre of Kurds in Iraq. And I had to do my investigation and find the testimonies of people in Iraq, Iraqi people, telling otherwise, and telling that you never participated in any kind of actions against the Kurds, but in fact, that they think that you are respectful people. And the term that I read that was used and that moved me, because I thought it was so beautiful, that you were respectful hosts in Iraq. How beautiful to just see that there is this other part of Iraq welcoming your presence and respecting you and wanting you to stay. Because, of course, what we're debating here is propaganda, defamation, in order to just impede that you as a movement could want the possibility of freeing Iran and bringing democracy and light to your beloved country. I found something that I think the world should know, because I didn't, that our countries, the Western world, got to know about the nuclear stations and program in Iran thanks to you. You were the one revealing this information to the world. So the question is, how can governments, strong governments, serious governments, put a label on a movement that has fought for freedom, that had brought information for peace in the world, and that had surrendered all its weapons? How can it be labeled as terrorists? The only explanation is realpolitik. The only explanation is that sometimes we're dealing with governments that are looking for their interests and not to fight for principles. And of course there are interests. There are many interests. But if I'm here, it's because I believe that we have to change the world. And we have to change the world in all the aspects that we don't like of this world we live in.
Qui ne voit pas, qui n'a pas vu, à travers ces images, que les crimes qui ont été commis sont bien loin de violations de droits de l'homme classiques? Qui n'a pas vu qu'il ne s'agit pas de je ne sais quelle bavure accidentelle? Qui ne voit pas, qui n'a pas vu que ce à quoi nous avons assisté mérite un seul et unique qualificatif, celui de crime contre l'humanité? Derrière les victimes et les cadavres qui se sont entassés dans le camp d'Ashraf, c'est évidemment toute l'humanité qui a été offensée, outragée et martyrisée. C'est toute l'humanité qui doit maintenant regarder du côté d'Ashraf, inlassablement. C'est toute l'humanité qui doit également demander des comptes aux bourreaux, aux persécuteurs des populations martyres d'Ashraf. Ces comptes, il faut les demander à Maleki, ses complices, ses séides, ses soutiens. Maleki, ses séides et ses soutiens, il y a quelques jours, ont rejoint le club très fermé des grands bourreaux et des grands prédateurs de la planète. Ils se retrouveront un jour, inlassablement, comme Pinochet, comme Milosevic, comme peut-être demain Kadhafi, comme peut-être demain Bachar el-Assad, dans le box d'une juridiction internationale ou nationale. C'est leur destin, c'est leur sort. Ils devront un jour y être placés.
I'm also shocked. I've seen things in television, I've seen war in television, but what I did see in the video today shocked me very much. How can people do things like this in Ashraf? Where is the humanity? How could people kill innocent people? How can they have tanks driving over people? Where is the human being and where is the humanity? I can't understand that. How could this happen again and again? How can it, as in Libya, leaders shot their own people and murder happens all over the world? In April, in Ashraf, committed at the order of al-Maliki, the Iraqi Prime Minister, and at the behest of the Iranian machine, shattered us all. Indeed, the international community had been warned about such a massacre long ago. But the painful reality is that the crime was not prevented on time. What is more painful is that it's not over yet. Iraqi forces are amazing inside the camp. Therefore, we now want this message to be heard with a loud voice that the international community should not tolerate another massacre in Camp Ashraf, since it will not be an aggression only against Ashraf residents, but it will be an aggression against humanity and human conscience, not only for the fact that Ashraf residents have been residing in the camp for 25 years and have built a desert patch into a small town using their own resources and money. Not only for the fact that the camp residents are protected persons under the 4th Geneva Convention and can't be slaughtered in violation of international convention, but also for the fact that Ashraf is a source of inspiration and hope for the Iranian people to bring about a democratic change in their homeland. Today, I have the honor to present to Mrs. Rajavi a table of statement of support signed by 106 members of the Swedish Parliament from 8 different political parties. That means from all political parties in the Swedish Parliament. And we have from the Defense Committee, from the Foreign Affairs Committee, and for the European Committee. As it declared in the statement, on behalf of 806 Swedish MP, I urge the United Nations and the US government to secure the protection of Camp Ashraf and stop the inhumane siege against the camp and killing of its residents by the Iraqi government. The MP also recognized the Iranian resistance movement for human rights and democracy and asked the Swedish government to open dialogue with the national resistance of Iran.